ain't real, no. I'm cruising forward beneath the Hollywood signs. I'm gonna meet my personal journey to stay so cut so tight. Every time you call, I'm gonna make you gold. I'm gonna make you gold. Every time you call, I'm gonna make you gold. Oh no. When I'm on Tina, always need you. Tina, in my body. Now I wanna do what I wanna do. Ask a man that was some job. I'm a vegan hot dog on the way to Jupiter. I'm a Christmas tree driven, chased with. I'm a dancing to dancing. Every time you call, I'm gonna make you gold. I'm gonna make you gold. Every time you call, I'm gonna make you gold. Oh no. When I'm on Tina, always need you. Baby girl in my body. Now I wanna do what I wanna do. Ask a man that was some job.
Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. How are you doing tonight? Let's have a look at who is here with us to start off. Pendulous Dragon, hello. Looney Tunes 9000, good to see you. My dogs are goth, hello. Apparently, someone is not allowed to piss in coffee pots. Noted. Anti-corporatist vegan hot dog. Yes, it's a weird, fun song. Here's an interesting thing. Looney Tunes 9000. Hi, Jake from the Birthday Boy. Age 28 today. Happy birthday, Looney Tunes. My word. I don't have a shofar. Let me do my best bet. Not very good. Congratulations. Happy birthday. How about that? A heartfelt, genuine message. I'm delighted you're spending a chunk of it with us, and let me tell you, seeing what you were talking about last night, we gave credit to the leftist mafia for breaking the United Auto Workers strike news. The reality is you're the one that did it. I heard about it first from you in the chat, so thank you for that. That is the video we put out earlier. Public Utility, good to see you. Tinkerbell, that sax is killer. It is. I should have let it go, I think. But hey, next time. That's one of our favorites. We play it often. Let's dive into it. Because boy, I might have to start calling her sister Nicole Wallace, because Nicole Wallace said on cable television a thing that I think a lot of us have been thinking. Let's break it down in the news portion. Sister Nicole Wallace, my God. Recently, by which I mean a video that was uploaded from MSNBC just 2 hours ago. Recently, Nicole Wallace got real when talking about the shenanigans that some of these right-wingers have been putting on. By which I mean endangering us all with threats of, let's call it what it is, civil conflict at a minimum, if the law is applied fairly to their team. Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that just? Let's hope we've learned a little bit. Let's see if the folks on MSNBC have. And I got good news spoilers on that front.
Charlie, I'm going to say something that people say privately all the time and not on TV all very often. Something really bad is going to happen. Okay, shit's about to hit the fan in this country.
Boom.
Fox News had to veer away from a lunatic spewing hatred and death threats for Democratic officials in New York because of the migrant caucus. Everyone is on, I don't even know the word. Everyone knows that we're walking into something hideous, and no one will do anything. I refuse to believe that nothing can be done. These are people getting their information in part because of the vacuum.
Let's just appreciate that for a second. Nicole Wallace, former Republican, so standard Democrat. She represents, in my opinion, the most middle of the road people. Now, if you get angry at these suburbanites who give lip service to helping out groups that need it, but never really seem to want to commit to doing anything serious. It will help if you understand the why of it. The why of it is that they are comfortable. In the suburbs, you can be aware that life is hard in the cities, but you will have the temptation to say, well, we're going to do something that will cost me very little personally. At least I'm assured it will cost me very little personally. And over the course of generations, it'll make a difference. Well, that sort of way of going about things, we can argue whether or not it's effective or not in terms of social change, in terms of economic change. But in terms of law and order, it's no good. You can't say, well, people will eventually understand that Republicans are naughty. No, that's not how it works. So, in other words, it comes from a place of comfort. Nicole Wallace represents the comfortable. Maybe in their hearts they're decent, but above all else, they're comfortable. She doesn't look so comfortable now. And she's warning the other comfortable folks that it's not going to stay comfortable without action. Now, I think they should be made to feel discomfort in other scenarios, on other matters. We should share our suffering more evenly and find that, in fact, the suffering that's left for each person to hold is quite manageable. And yet, it is so good that now, in this manner, finally, we are getting some real talk on a cable news channel from a queen of comfort to her audience. Let's let her go. Go on, queen.
Being created by people with, I don't even know if we call it a spine anymore. That might be an insult to spines. But there are still people out there with followings. He can go out and here's what I want to ask you. When something happens, what do you want to be able to tell your kids and grandkids you did? You good with nothing? You good with, I didn't do anything because I didn't think anyone would listen to me. Trump tweeted something mean about me someday. Because you did something. I tried to do something.
That is exactly the question to ask everyone you come across. We're in hard times now. What did you do? Was it something or nothing? Let's start there. Did you mutter to yourself and go on about your day? Or did you do something? Did you at least write an email? Did you at least speak up at a podium if people give you a podium to speak at? What did you do? You watching can answer that question. For fun, you watch a show about things you can do, and most, if not all of you, have participated in one thing or another. You've done something, but she's addressing her Republican colleagues when she's talking about this. She's not addressing you. And that is a question they need to be forced to answer as well. I'm talking about those Republicans who say, well, my colleagues in the Republican Party really shouldn't be doing all this stuff quietly off the record. No. We need to demand their involvement. This is a situation, and she's quite right here. This is a situation where you are either actively on the side of the good guys, or through passivity, through cowardice, you're on the side of the villains. But you cannot call yourself a Republican and take Republican dollars from that criminal organization and not speak out against the criminal things it's doing. If you are a Republican and you don't consider it to be a criminal organization, then you better act like a lawful damn citizen and speak out against the crimes. Let's let her go.
Where are all of the Republicans who still have little slivers of a following in the cesspool that is the MAGA base?
Well, look, all of the red lights are blinking about what is about to happen. And I think that's what makes what Jack Smith is doing so important, because he's saying, okay, right now, this is a stress test for the entire criminal justice system. Look, the Republicans are not going to step up. They are not going to raise their hands. We know that Mitch McConnell is not going to come out of his bunker and say what he said after January 6th. But what I think was so powerful about this document, which I've just skimmed, is the way that Jack Smith basically sounds all of those alarms and says,
let me just be clear that this nerd has the wrong idea. Well, we know they're not going to do that, so let's cower because we're cowards. Demand. That's what happens. You demand that they do that. You make it embarrassing for them not to. You call them cowards until they come out and speak. That's the message I would like him to be passing along to his cable news watching audience. But I understand that he wants to talk about Jack Smith and yada, yada, yada. And for the majority of the rest of this video, we're just going to let him go, as long as we have that understanding clear up front.
look, this is not just theoretical. Look what he has done in the past. Look what he is doing right now. And I know that the word, gag order is going to be thrown around a lot. But what he's really saying is that Donald Trump needs to be held to the same standard of that any other criminal defendant would be held to, but also to alert the court to the extent of this campaign to discredit and attack and demean judges and jurors and prosecutors, to discredit the entire process. This is not just one trial among any. Donald Trump is not just one defendant among any. This is a former president of the United States who is prepared to call out the furies, who is prepared to stoke violence, to tell people, come, because it will be wild. And, again, with all of these red lights blinking, the silence that we've gotten used to, I think, becomes less defensible, because what happens in 2024 could be horrific. It is likely to be horrific. And all of the people that enabled it and rationalized it and looked the other way ought to be held to account in some way, at least in their conscience, if not politically.
I mean, Glenn, Judge Esther Salas sat at this table where Lisa's sitting and talked about a person who wished her harm, who came to her door to kill her. And her son, she believes, protected her and her husband. The rule of law isn't nameless. The rule of law is moms with kids who answer the door. The rule of law is judges who, by no choice of their own, ended up with these cases. And
just want to say, Nicole Wallace, killing it, crushing it. She's correct. These are human beings. The people that these right-wingers just casually are threatening, they're human beings. We should bear that in mind, because we know exactly what they're going to do. The folks who listen to stochastic terrorists such as Donald Trump, one in that crowd will attack. We already know this has happened. It has happened multiple times. The attack on FBI headquarters. The Trump bomber, Caesar, whatever his name was. This happens consistently. So as long as we're aware, this is terrorism being encouraged against United States citizens. It is that serious.
And I wonder if you think this is a crisis that has a solution at this point.
A solution? I don't know that I'm willing to go that far. I will say, Nicole, I had almost given up hope that there was a last straw, but finally we've got, I wouldn't call it a gag order, but I've been saying all along we need some narrowly tailored restrictions on Donald Trump's dangerous, inflammatory speech and his posts. And I had almost given up hope that we would ever see a prosecutor step up. Think back a few months to when we saw Donald Trump post a picture of himself with a baseball bat appearing to be mid-swing, and in the adjacent frame, he put a picture, or he retweeted this, a picture of the person who was prosecuting him for felony crimes in New York. Crimes that some people may just say, well, it involved falsifying business records. No, it involved falsifying business records to try to steal the 2016 presidential election by burying deeply damaging information about playmates and porn stars. And in the next frame, he has that prosecutor with his hands upraised as if either defending himself or surrendering. And it looks like Donald Trump is about to clock him with a baseball bat. I thought this is the last straw. But there were so many more straws in the box. Thank goodness we now have Jack Smith stepping up to try to protect people and to try to protect and preserve the integrity of the jury system. Just a few days ago,
just take a moment to appreciate how unfit for this job Merrick Garland was and is. I realize we've been talking a lot recently about how a little whistle there, nice. Recently about how Joe Biden does not order investigations here or there, but he does choose who the attorney general is, and he does have the ability to fire the attorney general and replace them. One perfectly legitimate reason you might is if the attorney general is allowing the American people to endure terrorist threats and does nothing about it. Why? Because the attorney general is still comfortable. The attorney general has protection. You and I don't. You and I don't have protection. The attorney general and the Department of Justice, that's supposed to be our protection. But we are asked to endure the danger. Well, Merrick Garland protects his career because he doesn't want to anger Republicans by daring to investigate Donald Trump, or daring, when he is forced to, because Trump gives him no choice, daring to treat Donald Trump like someone who is actually under investigation and not a special little snowflake who gets to be coddled and say whatever he wants and do whatever he wants and get killed whoever he wants. To be accessory to the murder of whoever he wants. Merrick Garland is a disappointment, but Jack Smith, he's doing just fine.
In Donald Trump's most recent rally, he said, and this is just about a verbatim quote, Joe Biden ordered me indicted on 91 charges across 4 jurisdictions. That is demonstrably false. And yet, when there is no pushback against those kind of lies, those kind of jury pool poisoning lies, what happens? People tend to believe them because it's like, well, nobody said Joe Biden didn't order him indicted on 91 charges across 4 jurisdictions. So thank goodness we're finally going to, grab this issue by the throat and try to wrestle it to the ground figuratively to protect witnesses and to preserve the integrity of our criminal justice system.
I think, Paul, our best hope is to grab it by the tail, not the throat anymore. On August 4th, Donald Trump truthed this. Quote, if you go after me, I'm coming after you. This is in Jack Smith's filing today. Also in Jack Smith's filing today on page 7,
I gotta hit her with the yada yada yada. Look, I after hearing from Glenn Kirshner, it's not gonna get better. It's not gonna happen. What they're talking about is good and right, and I'm glad that they're doing it. Why did I show that to you? That's not because I thought you were unaware that Jack Smith is aware that Donald Trump's been threatening him and you and me and everybody he thinks he can get away with threatening. It's important that we keep track of the spheres of media influence. And there is a huge chunk of this country which does vote, which is, I think, overpolled when it comes to their opinions on this, that, or the other thing, as a legacy of the Nielsen way of doing things. And most importantly, only gets their information from the television. So to have Nicole Wallace, former Republican Nicole Wallace, breaking down the seriousness of the threats Trump has been tossing out there and the cowardice of the Republicans who still carry the banner but do not speak out against the stochastic terrorists in their organization. That's a good thing. And I hope to see more of it. And what the hell? It's not a what you can do. But I now that we're talking about it, I would suggest you consider writing MSNBC and saying, "Good job, Nicole." And I loved seeing that guest, Glenn Kirshner. Let's get more of him. Let's see what y'all have to say about it. Public utility. Whoopsie daisy. Let me scroll up. Public utility. A court shall be authorized to release a person on bail if the court finds that that person poses no significant risk of fleeing from the jurisdiction of the court or failing to appear in court when required, poses no significant threat or danger to any person, to the community, high community, or to any property in the community. High people that presumably have property in the community. Poses no significant risk of committing any felony pending trial. And poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice. I think Donald Trump ought to have his bail revoked for the reasons you've just listed out. Bob Treesh, good to see you. Good to see you. Gulf Coast Grit. I think that for that transgression, when McConnell has to leave due to health reasons, I firmly believe Bashir will appoint a Dem to his seat. Ooh, I hope so. Oh, I hope so. Pendulous Dragon, with the very much appreciated reminder, please remember to like, subscribe, and share the stream. Yes, please. Here's a fun thing. Since we're talking, I've been talking with Foxy here and there, trying to figure out how do I want to grow. It's not that I don't want to grow WYCD. I do. I just happen to like the crowd we have now, and I want to keep this kind of crowd. I don't want to do a whole secondary social media platform at the risk of losing this, whatever this vibe is. I like this vibe. So, if you want to help the show immensely, save your dollars. Save them for someone else. I turned on the annoying ads, and we are taking money from the rich for the purposes of spreading this message. Instead, to help the show, share the show on social media. YouTube, sure. Facebook, sure. Twitter, sure. Or X or whatever the hell. Blue Sky, yada yada. But don't look for me there. Just share the YouTube link. I'm intrigued to see how that'll work. And it's September. It's our weird month. We are We're trying stuff out. Related note. Have an announcement. Saturday. September 23, September 23rd. We are having Wicked Fight Night starring Doug and Paul from True North, the True North Eager Beaver podcast on Crier Media. This Saturday. Yes, it's inspired by pro wrestling, and we're going to be goofy sons of guns. I hope it's not this Saturday. It's next Saturday. It's the 23rd. I hope y'all will be there because it's going to be a hoot. The idea is we are going to be having a debate, and those gentlemen are invited. We have a tentative agreement. Schedules with podcasters are always difficult, but still. And most importantly, it's going to be hammy and ridiculous. And that is something I'm looking forward to immensely. So even though we're debating, could be talking about this, that, or the other thing. Who knows? We are very much going to be doing it tongue in cheek. And if your guy, whoever's taken up your side of the issue, wins or loses, I feel confident promising that you're going to have a good time. So I hope y'all will swing by Saturday, September 23rd for a one-off event, let's say. Wicked Fight Night. I'm looking forward to that immensely. Unfriendly Atheist with the very kind $2. Hello, humans. Good to see ya. Ooh, the anti-corporatist. Did Jake just freeze for anyone else? Oh, yeah, he did. I missed what he said. I was just announcing Wicked Fight Night. That's all. It's September 23rd, and it's going to be wrestling. Except instead of wrestling, it's a lefty debate. But with all the flash and silliness of WWE, I'm really hoping I can convince one of these fellas to put on a ridiculous costume or adopt a ridiculous persona. Fingers crossed. We'll see. Oh my God, the anti-corporatist. Did y'all get a T-shirt cannon? I'll tell you, Pixel Jake might bring one. I'm going to co-host it with the animated... I'm going to try to co-host it with one of the folks you see here.
I've been watching a lot of movies.
Oh no,
lately,
oh no,
so.
not that. So we'll have fun. We'll see how it goes. What do you say we get to the point of the show, though? Oh, Groove Dragon, what time? 9 p.m. I'm comfortable with 9. We've been doing things at 9 a lot. 9 p.m. Saturday. I probably should have... You know what? Not tonight. But I am going to cut a live promo for this in the style of WWE. You let me know what kind of wrestler you want me to imitate. Do you want me to do Randy Savage? Or Ultimate Warrior? Or Hulk Hogan, brother? Let me know. It'll be fun. I'll do a little The Rock. By all means. But we'll cut a promo for sure. Gulf Coast Grit. All right, chat, let's make this special. Who is going to play the role of commentator for Fight Night in chat? Oh, my God. Y'all decide that, and it will be noted and incorporated into the show. I want Paul Bearer. I want the whole thing. Yes. All right. All right. Now I'm getting too excited, and I will get distracted. I'm going to set up the next one. Because there is a smarmy son of a gun that I want us to take down a peg. Several pegs. Like 8 or 9, at least 8 or 9 pegs. But I've learned, and I'm setting up beforehand. We ain't recording yet. Oh, this prick. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Okay. a lot of you have been wondering what you can do about this guy. Look, his name's Tim, and he is guilty of saying what we all knew he was thinking. It's just been confirmed. Who is he? He's an Australian land baron. He's an oligarch. He controls the lives of many people. He's never ever had to sully himself by meeting. He controls how their lives go. And here he is talking about him. And if it pisses you off, good news, it pissed off a whole lot of other people too. And I'm going to tell you what you can do about it.
I think the problem that we've had is that we have people decided they didn't really want to work so much anymore through COVID, and that has had a massive issue on productivity. Tradies have definitely pulled back on productivity. They have been paid a lot.
Gonna pause you right there, you Slytherin-looking piece of here's the deal. I don't care if we lost productivity. Nor do any of the producers give a damn. And the reason why we don't care that productivity has gone down is because during COVID, we all had a chance to look at what filth like that's right, were doing with the excess productivity. They were pocketing it. That little punk nothing who hasn't ever done actual work in his entire life. That miserable excuse for a simian. That Australian afterbirth who does not work and has no understanding of productivity has taken the majority of the productivity of all the people that have worked for him, and he has put it in his bank account. In order to do that, he denied those funds to the people that earned them. And now he's on this property summit, and he is complaining that his serfs are not being productive, not as productive as he'd like. And he's saying, here's how we get them to bow again. Here's how we get them to respect their betters. That's what he's saying. I want to be clear. If productivity has gone down, good. Because we learned that the majority of it was not being used to build roads. It was not being used to take humanity to space. It was not being used to build schools or pay for health care. The majority of it was going into that greedy nothing's pocket.
To do not too much in the last few years, and we need to see that change. We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40, 50% in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around. I mean, there is a...
Nope. Let me teach this person about reality, because he doesn't apparently know. The employer made a bet on a business. And the payoff of that bet is that the business goes on existing and they get the easiest job in the whole business, which is to be the boss. When you're starting out with a business, you are both the boss and an employee. And yes, you work very, very, very hard. But when you get to the point where you're signing people's paychecks and you haven't met them before, you are living easy. Or at least you have the option to live easy. That's the reward. But to be clear about where the power is here, if you don't go to work, the business is fine. And if your employees don't go to work, there is no business. And that's the reality. So take your easy job and be damn sure you bribe your employees enough with a paycheck not to decide that your business doesn't exist anymore. That is the kind of negotiating you can do, by the way, when you have a union. And that is how you take little motherfuckers like this, little Vegeta hairline having, no swagger having, pathetic scum like this, little weak hand, no chest hair. Let me go away from physical things because that doesn't matter. No soul having pieces of garbage like this. That's how you take power away from them on the large scale. But with this motherfucker in particular, I've got something you can do, and we're going to get to that.
There's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them. As opposed
Correct, motherfucker. Yes, they are. They surely are. Can you imagine this guy having the balls to say that in front of a crew of construction workers? How about people laying incredibly dangerous cable lines or power lines? Do you think this little royal filth, let's say, would have the guts to say that in front of actual workers? No. No, you would need courage for that. He'd still be wrong if he had the courage, but we know he does not have that courage.
The other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy.
We need to just say this one more time. He said we've got to kill that attitude. That should tell you what the prescription is for making your life better. If you think people like that ought not to exist, keep that attitude. Your employer better be grateful for your presence, and they better demonstrate that with the kind of paycheck that makes you not worry about how little they work. Now let's hear how he wants to kill that attitude, and I think you'll understand where a lot of our unnecessary problems seem to come from.
It's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy, which is what the whole global, the world is trying to do. The governments around the world are trying to increase unemployment.
Yeah. Why does the economy suddenly take a massive hit like that? Punks like this. A billionaire says people aren't willing to work on my projects for subsistence. My God, subsistence wages. People aren't willing to work for just barely below the poverty line anymore. They're not willing to work themselves to death at my company anymore. They're insisting that they be able to afford their own health care. They're insisting on being able to take a vacation once every couple of years. And I can't have that. So what we're going to do is make life worse for everyone until the people of my country, whatever country that may be, in this case, he's saying all around the world, until the people of my country break. Oh, and by the way, any country that will allow us, like, for example, the United States of America, any country that will allow us to bribe politicians to make it harder for the people to endure so that we can bully the people more, we're going to take advantage of that. That's what he says.
To get that to some sort of normality. And we're seeing it. I think every employer now is seeing it. I mean, there is definitely massive layoffs going off. People might not be talking about it, but people are definitely laying people off, and we're starting to see less arrogance in the employment market, and that has to continue because that will cascade across the cost balance.
Wait a minute. Less arrogance, he says. Less arrogance. These peasants, he came this close to using the word uppity, didn't he? Less arrogance in the employment market. These people think they have rights. I realize he's Australian, but I feel he's more British. These people, they think they have rights. We must show them that they are scum. No, we know who the scum is. It's that guy. Look, he got embarrassed that those terrible things that he said and meant were discovered by the likes of you and me, by the lowly paupers, by the serfs, by the common filth of society that he can't stand, that he said are arrogant for wanting to live our lives, for not being happy with the gift of being able to dedicate our lives to his financial betterment. He got embarrassed that we found out what he said, and he apologized. Oh, he said he was sorry. And it was a good apology, too. He said he didn't mean what he said. He said what he said was wrong. So why did he say it? If what he said was wrong, why did he say it? What's he tangibly going to do? I wonder. It's not the same thing as like an influencer doing an apology. I genuinely, and I take myself out of that running. I am not an influencer. I am an organizer. Slightly different in this context, but like a social media influencer. They can give an apology, and that's fine if it's enough. I mean, that is enough, I should say. It's fine. Why? Because their whole thing is just opinions. That guy's whole thing isn't opinions. His whole thing is taking actions and genuinely making our lives harder. He is one of the people who does that. So what can you do? At any location where you see an apology posted, and I'll include Drew Barrymore here, who kicked out those union supporters from her show when she was playing the scab game. And I know we can talk about the details of Barrymore, blah, blah, blah. The point is, people who have taken action to hurt us must take action to make up for that. This billionaire who did not earn the billions he is still greedily holding on to. And he insists upon getting more billions. He wants to rob more of his employees of their labor. And he wants to strong-arm them into allowing him to do that. This punk can only truly apologize by doing one thing: donating to a strike fund. Tell him that. Publicly. Put this out on social media. Donate to a strike fund, then. If you're sorry, show us. Oh, I just bit my tongue. Somewhat decent. If you're sorry, show us. Financially. Give money to a strike fund so that those things you said were wrong can be campaigned against. That's what to do. Otherwise, you can take that apology and shove it up your incredibly narrow ass. Him, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't care. He ain't nothing, but that's what you can tell him. Pendulous Dragon, Wayne Assembly Plant is literally 2 miles from my house. Dude, we could go have coffee together. We could go have pancakes. We live very close to each other, for the record. They are out on the streets. Show them your support. My pops retired from Ford. He struggled to survive on the $1,100 a month retirement. Pendulous Dragon, I'm telling you. I think there is reason to believe we could turn this into a class action lawsuit. The money your father might have been denied after they got rid of that the cost of living adjustment, that was done on the understanding that it would be temporary. I wonder if we can't get you some money. But I love that you're in the area, man. Groove Dragon Proles. The anti-corporatists, every couple of years, F that. We need to be working 32-hour work weeks, getting 7-week annual vacations, and M4A and paid family leave and all of that. Like a mother effing civilized country. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm just highlighting how wretched the current working conditions are. I worked from the all right, let me do the full scope of my working years thus far. 2 decades working for the man. 2 decades. I took 1 vacation when I was briefly married. I had a honeymoon. But I didn't really pay for that. That was paid for by wedding guests, essentially. We got a long way to go, and I think you have the correct prescription. As we've seen, a 32-hour work week is reasonable, and allowing people to live their lives should be mandatory. Hey, Donald James, good to see you. Gulf Coast Grit, they keep trying to discipline labor. I say it's time we discipline management, owners, investors. Yes, sir. And unions are how we do that. I'll tell you, one thing that does make me think maybe we should try for a giant audience and do that big push is that I think we should start a general strike fund. And I don't think we should, it's probably a misleading name, I don't think we should have a strike fund for every worker that exists ever, but we should go from place to place and find newly formed unions that have protections against getting fired when they strike and just finance their strikes. The reason being, when one place strikes, the whole community receives the benefit. Really, even if it's a coffee shop in the middle of a small town, and that coffee shop agrees to start paying their employees $3 an hour more, the number of pants bought by the owners of that coffee shop are smaller than the number of pants bought by the employees. So having more people with more change in their pocket for which to buy pants means that whatever tailor's in town, whatever clothes seller is in town is going to have more customers. Copy paste that for every service the town offers. More people get to participate in the economy. The whole economy does better. I do want to consider doing that. But I'm trying not to think that large scale. September is the fun month. We are going to have fun and do weird shit like we've been doing. Tao and Jack. Working in a coal mine. Oops, about to slip down. 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, wait a minute. Are you talking working in a coal mine? Yes. Heavy Metal is one of the best films I have ever enjoyed, and I encourage everybody to watch it. I did a whole D&D campaign with the soundtrack ripped from the movie, and none of the people in my campaign knew the music, and my heart broke. Groove Dragon going down, down. Yes, indeed. Oh, and then Groove Dragon. We've got left a good job down in the city. Working for the man every night and day. Yeah, little Tina Turner. Wireless Mike. Don't forget Letterhack is doing the... Ooh, the finale to his... No, he's just doing the next chapter. But you're right, he's doing it. It's in 7 minutes. And I want to check that out. Y'all, we'll goof around later. I have more goofing to do, but nothing formal. I will catch it. What is it? Was this Friday? Shit, this was supposed to be Friday Peace Talks. September's weird. Saturday is going to be a somewhat normal stream. I'll see you then. In the meantime, I'm going over to Letterhack. I want to hear the story. I'm kind of hooked. I will see you there, hopefully. If not, thank you for joining me. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for what you can do. My name's Jake.